Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic Radio Theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A Western and Movie Monday edition of the program with episodes of Fort Laramie and Gunsmoke, both from Sunday, October 14th, 1956, 68 years ago, which means we'll hear a little news from that day. And we'll head to the movies with an episode of the Lux Radio Theater, their adaptation of To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey, Bogart, and Lauren Bacall. And we'll check out Claudia and see what's going on out on the farm. That's what's coming up on this Monday. This is the 14th day of October, 288th day of the year, 78 days left till we get to 2025. The UK's East India Company's tea ships cargo burned in Annapolis, Maryland on this date in 1773 in the run-up to the Revolutionary War. George Washington proclaimed the first Thanksgiving Day on this date in 1789. In 1884, George Eastman patented the paper strip photographic film. In 1910, English aviator Claude Graham White landed his Farman biplane on Executive Avenue near the White House. That's now Pennsylvania Avenue. While campaigning in Milwaukee, former President Teddy Roosevelt shot by saloon keeper John Schrank on this date in 1912. With a fresh flesh wound and the bullet still in him, Roosevelt still delivered his scheduled speech. In 1916, sophomore tackle and guard Paul Robeson excluded from the Rutgers football team in 1916 when Washington and Lee University refused to play against a black person. The children's book Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, first published in 1926. In 1933, Nazi Germany withdrew from the League of Nations. In 1947, Chuck Yeager flew a Bell X-1 faster than the speed of sound, the first man to do so in level flight.
Took the roster of all of our test pilots. We had 125 at the time, I believe, and went over this roster in great detail and selected about 25 pilots that we considered qualified for the flight. We then called in each of these pilots and interviewed them, of course having quite a bit of personal knowledge of their attitude and ability. And we'd hoped to find a pilot that didn't have a family, one who wasn't married preferably. After interviewing all of the pilots, we always came back to Yeager. He had demonstrated his ability on numerous occasions in our presence in the various flight demonstrations at the field and also in test work.
Air Force Colonel Alan Boyd on the selection of Yeager to make the flight. 11 leaders of the Communist Party of the U.S. convicted on this date in 1949 after a 9-month trial of conspiring to advocate the violent overthrow of the U.S. government. In 1962, a U-2 flight over Cuba took photos of Soviet nuclear weapons being installed, thus beginning the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1964, Leonid Brezhnev became the General Secretary of the Communist Party and leader of the Soviet Union, ousting Nikita Khrushchev. In 1964, American civil rights movement leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. became the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize.
I do not consider this merely an honor to me personally, but a tribute to the discipline, wise restraint, and majestic courage of the millions of gallant Negroes and white persons of goodwill who have followed a nonviolent course in seeking to establish a reign of justice and a rule of love across this nation of ours.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on this date in 1964. In 1968, the first live telecast from a manned U.S. spaceflight, Apollo 7. In 1981, citing official misconduct in the investigation and trial, Amnesty International charged the U.S. government with holding Richard Marshall of the American Indian Movement as a political prisoner. The Nobel Peace Prize on this date in 1994 went to 3 men most responsible for a breakthrough Middle East peace agreement: Yitzhak Rabin and Shimon Peres of Israel, along with Palestinian Liberation Organization leader Yasser Arafat, sharing the prize. Now, many people believed Arafat, being a terrorist, protested his inclusion. PLO delegate Nabil Shalat said the recognition was proper.
We are not a terrorist organization. We are a liberation movement, and we do not seek international discord. We seek peace.
On this date in 1998, Eric Robert Rudolph, charged with 6 bombings, including the 1996 Centennial Olympic Park bombing in Atlanta, Georgia. In 2012, Felix Baumgartner successfully jumped to Earth from a helium balloon in the stratosphere in the Red Bull Stratos project. In 2014, Utah State University received a bomb threat against feminist media critic Anika Sarkeesian, who was to give a lecture the next day. And it was in 2021 about 10,000 American employees of John Deere went on strike, probably part of the impetus for John Deere to move their plants from the U.S. to Mexico, which they're trying to do. Unfortunately, that is being met with a significant amount of resistance. Passing away on this date in history, actor Errol Flynn, actress Dame Edith Evans, singer-actor Bing Crosby, actor Keenan Wynn, composer-conductor Leonard Bernstein, writer, animal activist, and curmudgeon-at-large Cleveland Amory, polka musician Frankie Yankovic, musician Freddie Fender, pro wrestler Captain Lou Albano, from Falcon Crest, actor, director, producer Simon McCorkindale, and Hagrid and Harry Potter, Robbie Coltrane. Birthdays on this date include Bill Justice,
1969.
Saxophonist Bill Justice and raunchy Bill Justice, born on this date in history, as was the founder of Pennsylvania, William Penn. President 34, Dwight David Eisenhower, a well-known United States general, particularly in World War II. Actress Lillian Gish, poet E.E. Cummings, Mrs. Ronald Coleman, Benita Hume, born on this date, Surgeon General C. Everett Koop, probably the best known of the Surgeon Generals, actor Roger Moore, WWE's Nikolai Volkov, and actor Harry Anderson, probably best known for his role as Judge Harry Stone in Night Court.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Please accept my excuses if I'm a little hidgety here today. We have a new version of our production software, and it's freaking me out a little bit, some of the changes, so hopefully everything comes out okay. Watergate figure John W. Dean III, 86 years old today. Fashion designer Ralph Lauren is 85. English singer Cliff Richard is 84.
1979.
It's so funny how we don't talk anymore. It's so funny why we don't talk anymore. But I endlessly and I ain't counting sheep.
I was going to play Devil Woman, but I thought, well, we'll do this one instead. Cliff Richard, 84 today. BJ and the Bear, My Two Dads Tech War star Greg Evigan, 71 today. English musician Thomas Dolby, who got blinded with science, 66 today. From Tank Girl, Lori Petty, 61. Usher, 46 today.
I lost my way, she said she stayed, and lately I've been sleeping with a ghost. My stock is down and out, I used to be with my weight and go. That was before the Great Depression kicked in and rocked us. And that was before the hurricane came in and stopped us. I told you to leave, but you lied to me when you said that. Maybe no worries, I promise to get us back.
His hit Moving Mountains, Usher, 46. Actress and former pro wrestler Stacy Keibler, 45. She was mostly just eye candy, shall we Just admit that, okay? From Bratz and Super Babes, Skylar Shane is 38. From Saturday Night Live, Jay Farrow is 37. Did I have something from him? I guess not. Also, from The Guiding Light and the Bold and the Beautiful, Mackenzie Mousy is 36. And from Spy Kids and Girl Meets World, Rowan Blanchard is 23 today. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 14th day of October, as their birthday. And if this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
We head to Sunday, October 14th, 1956. 2 shows there. We start up in the afternoon with an episode of Fort Laramie starring Raymond Burr and the story of Still Waters.
Remember, the government ruling is you must register your tires or you cannot get any gas. So act tomorrow to register yours.
Now we go back to Sunday, October 14th, 1956, an episode of Fort Laramie starring Raymond Burr and Still Waters.
At the gallop! Oh!
Fort Laramie. Fort Laramie, starring Raymond Burr as Captain Lee Quince. Specially transcribed tales of the dark and tragic ground of the wild frontier. The saga of fighting men who rode the rim of empire. And the dramatic story of Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry.
Captain?
Oh, Mr. Syberts. The men looked fine, I thought.
Well, yes, sir. They looked all right.
Good drill. Good parade.
Yes, sir, but actually I was more concerned with... Well, weren't you listening, sir?
I was watching, Lieutenant. I almost never listen to a dress parade.
I mean the band.
The band seemed to march real good.
Captain, the music. Frankly, I thought it was terrible.
Oh?
Usually it just sounds bad. But today it was awful. What, didn't it sound strange to you? Tinny, off-key?
I was watching B Company, Mr. Syberts. Marched just fine.
I don't know. Maybe it's my ears.
More likely my ears. I don't pay much mind to the music. When I was a boy, my mother thought I had a promising voice. So I'd sing for her. And the hogs would come running. Then the neighbors got so they'd come running, too. I got a lot of encouragement to quit singing.
But just because you couldn't sing well, Captain, doesn't mean you don't have an appreciation for music.
Oh, I think it does, Mr. Syberts. You see, I wasn't just obliging my mother. I thought I sounded fine, too.
Well, you were considerably younger, sir. I'm sure you've outgrown all that by now. After all, with your mother to encourage you, you couldn't be blamed for thinking
Around her neck she wore a yellow ribbon.
Captain.
She wore it in the winter and the merry month of May. And when they asked her why
Really, Captain, it was more about the regimental band than anything else. And if you didn't notice the band,
Far away, far away. She wore it for her lover who was far, far away.
Yes, well, I'm beginning to think I was very mistaken, if you'll excuse me, Captain.
Far away, Captain Quince. Major Daggett, what are you doing? I was singing, sir.
You call that singing?
Yes, I do. But I suppose it's a minority opinion.
Are you drunk, Captain?
No, sir. I can account for the singing if you're interested, Major.
I'm only interested in stopping it. We've had enough bad music around here for one day.
I thought dress parade came off fine, sir. I was very proud of B Company.
Captain, I don't want to hear another reference to dress parade today.
Yes, sir.
It's over. That's the only good thing about it. It's over. I don't want to discuss it. I don't want to hear it discussed. That's an order, Captain.
Yes, sir.
I won't even ask if you heard the band. Did you hear the band?
Must have. I saw it. Seemed to me they marched real good.
No matter if you heard it or not. If that bellowing you call singing's a sample of your ear for music, that... Marched real good?
I thought so, sir.
If I want marching, I'll get a company of infantry. From a band, Captain, I expect just one thing, music. You think I'm being unreasonable?
Kind of hard to get music out of busted instruments, I imagine.
I realize some of the pieces are quite old. Schultz tells me in the field they have problems with rust, sand, foul in the cornet pistons, but busted instruments?
The report said the band was brawling over something Saturday night. Someone put his foot through a field drum, some of the blowhorns got smashed.
You read a report on a band brawl?
Mm-hmm. On your desk, Sunday morning, Major.
Oh. Well, I want to talk to the bandmaster, and if you'll stop delaying me, I will.
Sorry to hold you up, Major.
Lee. I'm sorry.
For what?
Well, I'm mad as the devil. I didn't mean to take it out on you.
I was handy.
And you were singing, don't forget. Kind of set me off.
Set Mr. Seibert's off, too.
Fact of the matter is, we have guests on the post. I wanted to be especially proud of our band. Oh, and what they did to Boots and Saddles, I think it was Boots and Saddles. I gotta see Schultz.
Tell him I thought the band marched real good.
You ailing, Harrison? Not me, Sergeant.
Well, we'd like to get that lumber loaded so you could run the wagon up to Old Bedlam, unload it, and come back here and start all over.
No, I'm doing what I can. I swear I am.
You ain't ailing, you shake a leg.
Both of them are shaking now, Sergeant.
All right, Harrison, come out with it. I got about half a minute's patience left.
You know I'm a reasonable man. You know that right off. Well, if I'm not reasonable, maybe there's a cause.
I ain't got long to wait.
Like this contrary weather. It ought to be cooling off. Give a man a feel for hard work. It's got no right to be blazing hot this time of year.
You're asking for a change of weather?
I'd be obliged if you could arrange it, Sergeant. Anything, just any small thing would be an improvement.
Well, now, you just come to the right man, Harrison. Just for you, I'm going to change the weather. You mind now you asked me to do it?
Oh, I ask. I sure ask, all right.
Trooper Harrison?
Yes, Sergeant.
Report to the guardhouse.
Guardhouse? On what charge?
On the charge that you asked for. It takes you right out of the blazing sun. Of course, how you're going to get a breath of air is something else again. But seeing any small change would be an improvement.
Sergeant, I'll be getting back to my loading now.
I thought you wanted to change the weather.
One day I'm going to learn to keep my mouth shut around here.
That day comes, you write me a letter so I'll know.
You know I can't write.
I tell you one good thing, Harrison.
I just ain't rising to any more bait, Sergeant.
Fatigue's over in half an hour, and after supper...
There's a band concert, I know. Well, it ain't gonna cool me off none. Not a cent's worth.
Only there ain't gonna be no band concert. In fact, if Bandmaster Schultz can't explain himself any better to Major Daggett than he has so far...
Oh, my foot!
Maybe we heard the last toot ever from our regimental band.
Pliny? You around, Pliny?
No.
What are you doing behind the pickle barrel? You drop a penny?
Are you alone, Captain?
Sure.
I'm not exactly open. It's almost 4:30.
You'd open at midnight to sell a 2-penny cigar. Now come on out from behind that barrel.
Well, oh my, it's unnerving. That's what it is. What did you want, Captain?
What are you whispering about?
Well, you never know who's listening these days.
I'm listening. I'm hard put to hear you. Are you going to sell me a glass of beer, or do I have to draw it myself?
Ha-ha.
Aha.
Who sent you?
Pliny, it's a hot day.
Oh, no, you don't, sir. I know an investigation when I see one. Well, you may tell that committee and Major Daggett and all the powers that be that I am living up to the letter of my agreement with the United States Army.
Maybe you ought to have a glass of beer, too.
It's not my concern if the regimental band can't play without instruments.
What about the band?
No beer, no band. Oh, I'll miss the drums. Won't you?
Pliny, what time of day do you start making sense?
Why, Captain, I believe you don't know. You came here in innocence. But these are dark days, and the seeds of distrust are on the wind.
This time I'm going into the canteen and get that beer.
There is no beer. There will be no beer. Beer is a closed issue. Poor Schultz. Poor Schultz.
You keep going from beer to band.
From no beer to no band. And you can thank Mrs. Feemster and her committee for that.
Mrs. Feemster's not doing anything. She's just visiting Fort Laramie.
Her visit was ill-timed. Just when Schultz needed new instruments the worst way. But alas, 5% of nothing will not buy French horns and trumpets. And, oh my, I will miss the drums. I'm still not reaching you, am I, Captain?
I know. No, you're not.
Then let me put it simply. A, B, C. A is for the agreement. Now then, 5% of all proceeds from the sale of beer I give to B, which is the band. From these monies, Schultz buys new instruments. That is, he did until... Oh, yes, until C. C is for committee, headed by Mrs. Feemster. The committee for moral improvement, if you will. Oh, and that means no beer. It follows then no beer, no proceeds, no band. Oh, my. I put that well, didn't I?
If you did, you better climb in that pickle barrel, Pliny. A sutler that doesn't sell beer needs a real hiding place.
But the brine...
Salty.
Oh, Captain, I was just about to send for you.
Just came from the settlers, Major. You got any idea what's going on around here?
Hold your voice down. Come here.
Pliny was whispering, too, for a while.
Now, listen to me, Lee. I get a better idea than anyone what's going on around here. Mrs. Feemster's in my office now. Let's go in here.
The Army run by a woman now, Major?
That's not funny, Lee.
I don't mean it funny. I can't get a glass of beer. Pliny says that woman's why.
I've just learned from Washington that there's several thousand Mrs. Feemsters, Captain, and their ranks seem to be growing daily. Not only that, but there are also Mr. Feemsters, and their voices are getting louder every day.
Mrs. Feemster doesn't like beer?
On moral grounds.
She like whiskey better?
Whiskey isn't the issue. Beer, light wines, such as are sold at the sutler's canteen.
Then she likes whiskey better.
She wouldn't see it that way. Besides, it isn't just the beer. That's just part of their plan for moral improvement. They want to see that all posts have libraries, more recreational facilities, concerts.
From the regimental band playing on no instruments?
Well, Mrs. Feemster realizes the problem there.
I got nothing against libraries, recreation. We need 'em. But do you think we got any kind of a drinking problem at Fort Laramie?
I've never been aware of one.
If we had one, you'd be aware of it. We all would. And if we had one, it wouldn't be on account of beer served to the settlers.
I know that, Lee. You act like this was up to me. Well, let me assure you, it isn't.
Ms. Feemster, post commander?
I'm still in command here, and that means I still follow orders from Washington. That's where the real pressure's coming from. They've banned the sale of beer at Fort Sully, Fort McPherson, and Fort Totten, and I can't keep them from banning it here.
That brings us back to whiskey again. If a man can't get a glass of beer on the post, he'll go off the post. You think Mrs. Feemster knows what a hog ranch is?
A whiskey ranch? I doubt it.
Well, they got 'em now, all around Fort Sully and Fort Totten. And men that used to drink beer at those posts are stealing off and rotting their insides on hog ranch whiskey.
You seem pretty sure of your facts, Lee.
Ask Major Trucks. He got the information at the post surgeons' meeting last month at Fort Randall. The post surgeons are recommending that they reopen the canteens.
I wonder. Just wonder. No, it'd never work.
No, what wouldn't work?
I don't think even Major Trucks could convince Mrs. Feemster she was short-sighted.
I was thinking more of letting Mrs. Feemster make her own decision about being short-sighted.
You haven't met her, have you?
No, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Now, Lee?
I'd like to volunteer to show Mrs. Feemster around the post tomorrow, Major.
Volunteer?
You might just tell her I'll call for her tomorrow, right after guard mount. Afternoon to you, Major. Of course, in time, we'd want to build a library building separate, but that takes time. Right now, there's only one building not being put to use.
Well, I'm sure I don't know where that is, Captain. Goodness knows we've covered most of the post.
Except the sutler's, ma'am. It's just ahead.
But surely the sutler's store isn't vacant.
Not the store, just the canteen. It's part of the same building.
Is that where they keep beer?
When they had it, ma'am.
My dear young man, I have never set foot in a saloon, and I don't intend to go now.
The saloon's where they sell liquor, ma'am. This canteen's an empty room and a counter. But if you don't want to look at it,
You're
why...
certain there's nothing in the nature of spirits in there?
I give you my word, Mrs. Feemster. There isn't a sign of spirit in there now.
Very well, then. I suppose I should take the long view. After all, the library is the important thing. But in a saloon...
Canteen.
I'll take your word there's a difference, Captain.
After you, ma'am.
Thank you, Captain.
Canteen straight ahead, Mrs. Feemster.
Now then, Pliny, I got a long order here. Best you write it down.
Just a moment, Sergeant. Just a moment. Captain?
Yes, Pliny? Oh, have you met Mrs. Feemster? This is Pliny Burgess, the sutler.
Mr. Burgess?
Madam? Now, Captain, you know very well the canteen is... well, it's...
Yeah, we know, Pliny. We come to see how the room would do for a library.
A library? You mean books, and books in there?
We'll just look it over. You mind your customer over there.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I got cash money, Pliny.
Coming. Yes, indeed. In fact, I'm here.
Well, Mrs. Feemster?
Well, yes, I think perhaps you may be right, Captain.
Lemon extract.
This room would make...
I want all the lemon extract you got. All the vanilla, peppermint, ginger.
All?
Every drop. Then I want everything in stock in the way of cinnamon, red pepper sauces, bay rum. You got any smelly water, Pliny?
Smelly? Oh, no, I don't believe I haven't. Oh, no.
You're not paying much mind to the room, ma'am.
Hey? Oh, why... Oh, yes, it's first rate. Splendid.
O.D. something, Pliny.
O.D.? Smelly.
Excuse me, ma'am. You know what I'm trying to say.
I?
You know, you women folks uses it sometimes. Smells right nice. O.D.
O.D. Cologne.
Oh, that's it, ma'am. Thank you kindly. I'll take all you got, Pliny.
All I've got.
Seems to me we could get several hundred books in here, Miss Feemster. Now, along that wall there,
Just a minute, Captain. Young man.
You talking to me, ma'am?
I am indeed. Your order to Mr. Burgess, all the lemon extract, all the cologne.
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask what you're planning to do with it?
Why, drink it, ma'am.
Drink it?
Well, maybe not all of it. I'll sell some, chances are. Maybe give some now and again to my friends. But...
Drink it?
Why, ma'am, you strain extract or that OD stuff through some coarse bread, you got a fine batch of alcohol.
Oh, my.
Now, myself, I'd rather have a glass of beer, but we can't get that no more here, so, well, man's left to his own devices, you might say.
Thank you, Gorse.
I just hope it did the trick, Captain.
Right now, we almost have this added up, so let me see what that comes to, $57.43, Sergeant.
Pliny, I've been thinking this over.
Huh? Oh. Well, now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Now, since you're such a good customer, I'm going to let you have the whole thing for $57.33.
You drink it, Pliny. I'm going to Laramie Village for a beer.
Why, Captain, you've come to say goodbye.
No, I wasn't sure I'd be welcome, Mrs. Feemster. Major tells me you were a while settling down.
I very nearly fainted. You may as well know that.
Well, if it'd make you feel any better, it was all made up for your benefit, ma'am.
So Major Daggett assured me. Oh, my, Captain. I'm going back to Washington with a brand new outlook. I think our Committee on Moral Improvement may just revise its thinking a bit.
You talked to the post surgeon?
Indeed I did. I'm taking the entire matter up with all of official Washington.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to thank you for opening my eyes, Captain. And that nice orderly of yours.
Harrison?
Yes, Trooper Harrison. He's the one who makes those nice outdoor stoves.
He is?
He was cooking last evening down by the Laramie River. I was out for my evening constitutional, and he explained it all to me about his stove. A retort, a condenser, and a receiver.
Harrison? He called it a stove?
Oh, he had some other name for it. A foolish name, too.
A foolish name like a still?
Yes, but I could see it was a stove. He's promised to send me the plans, show me just how to make it.
Mrs. Feemster, that stove, I was just...
Oh, my goodness, the stage is ready. Goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Mrs. Feemster.
Fort Laramie is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and stars Raymond Burr as Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry, with Vic Perrin as Sergeant Gorse. The script was specially written for Fort Laramie by Kathleen Height, with sound patterns by Bill James and Ray Kemper, musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Featured in the cast were Howard McNear, Jeanette Nolan, and Sam Edwards. Jack Moyles is Major Daggett, and Harry Bartell is Lieutenant Seiberts.
Company, tension! Dismiss!
Next week, another transcribed story of the Northwest frontier and the troopers who fought under Lee Quince, Captain of Cavalry. Are you a student, businessman, musician, stamp collector? No matter what your profession or age, your opposite number in some faraway country wants to know about you and to tell you about his own life and thoughts. CBS Radio urges you to send your name to Letters from Abroad, 45 East 65th Street, New York City, mentioning your age, occupation, and interests. They'll find you a suitable correspondent in the country of your choice.
Howard McNair doing a wonderful job there in that episode of Fort Laramie from Sunday, October 14th, 1958, 68 years ago. Before we move to Dodge City from Fort Laramie, we're going to have a quick look at the news from that Sunday, 68 years ago today.
Our boys are still fighting. Are you still saving used fat? It's urgently needed to help make battlefront and homefront supplies.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Now on this Monday Classic Radio Theater, let's take a quick look at the news from 68 years ago today. Eisenhower administration has decided communist Yugoslavia remains independent of Moscow control and should continue to receive U.S. aid, that in spite of the deep secrecy that still surrounds President Tito's recent meetings with Soviet leaders. Barring some late turn of events which could upset the decision, Eisenhower due to announce on Tuesday that Yugoslavia's request for emergency wheat shipments, unofficially reported to be totaling around 200,000 tons, can be met, that economic assistance can continue, and that spare parts can be supplied for American-made military equipment given Yugoslavia armed forces in earlier years. This doesn't mean that Yugoslavia will get the more than 200 jet fighter planes Tito very much wants from the United States. The UN Security Council accepted unanimously 6 principles for continued negotiations in the Suez Crisis after the Soviet Union vetoed a British-French demand for endorsement of proposals for international control. The U.S., Britain, and France and 6 other council members voted for the entire resolution put up by Britain and France. It contained the 6 principles agreed upon Friday and British-French proposals that the decision of 18 powers for international operation of the canal formed a basis for settlement. The Soviet Union and Yugoslavia voted against the second part. This was Russia's 78th veto since the UN was founded. President Eisenhower took a birthday evening stroll down memory lane last night via the magic of TV. Then, looking a bit misty-eyed, the chief executive declared, "I cannot remember any birthday that has been quite so deeply meaningful to me as this." The president and first lady participated from the library of the White House in the birthday party staged over CBS. With them were their sons and daughters and their 2 oldest grandchildren. Screen star Jimmy Stewart served as master of ceremonies in Hollywood, and actress Helen Hayes cut a big slice of birthday cake for the president at another party in Washington where some 2,000 well-wishers were on hand. A mysterious SOS signals posed a riddle last night for a big air and sea armada searching the eastern Atlantic for 59 American servicemen who disappeared Wednesday aboard a military transport plane. Unsigned signals heard by ships and aircraft early yesterday guided mercy planes to an area about 100 miles off the northwest tip of Spain, an area in which the C-118 Liftmaster could well have gone down with its crew of 9 Navy men and 50 Air Force passengers headed home from duty in Britain. One of the first planes to arrive reported sighting 2 yellow survivor rafts of a type carried by the missing plane. The pilot at first said he saw a man aboard one of the rafts. This spurred hope that some of the group might be found, but as the rest of the search armada turned to the area, hopes began diminishing. White House yesterday angrily branded as completely false an implied charge that Congressman Adam Clayton Powell, the Democrat of New York, was pressured into endorsing President Eisenhower for re-election. Clearly showing his anger, White House News Secretary James C. Haggerty issued a blast at the Harlem Democratic leaders who signed a statement alleging White House pressure tactics on Powell. A flying saucer scare in northern New Jersey last night jammed police, newspaper, and radio station switchboards with thousands of telephone calls and caused traffic tie-ups among curious motorists. The telephone callers reported seeing a strange object in the sky, the object described as silvery and having an orange glow. The saucer scare was put to rest an hour later when Newark Airport Control Tower sent up a plane to investigate, and the pilot reported a large white or aluminum weather balloon at 18,000 feet over Caldwell, New Jersey. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, October 14th, 1956. We'll continue now on Classic Radio Theater, staying on that Sunday, with an episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad.
Ladies, listen. The shortage of fats and oils is still very serious, and it's worldwide. So please, keep on saving every single drop of used kitchen fat. Your butcher will pay you for every pound.
We continue now with more Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad. This is also from that same Sunday, October 14th, 1956, 68 years ago, The Gunshot Wound.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by L&M, the modern cigarette that lets you get full, exciting flavor through the modern miracle of the pure white Miracle Tip. Live modern. Smoke L&M. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
Morning, Dr. Clay.
Oh, good morning, Nielson.
You wanted to see me?
No, I never wanted anything less than to call you in here.
You got bad news.
Yeah, it's been bearing down on me for 2 days. But you've got to know, Nielson.
I'm not going to make it?
No. Sooner or later, that bullet in you is going to kill you.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
Well, I feel good enough, Doc. You could be wrong, couldn't you?
Well, I wish I was. I don't know if I'm right in telling you about it, but I treated the same kind of case at Shiloh. And the bullet kept moving, just like yours. And there was no way to stop it.
How long did it last?
Not as long as you have. You've been going 2 months since the fight.
And how much longer I got, Doc?
Well, there's no way to know. Another month, maybe longer, maybe less. I just thought you'd want to know, Nielson.
Better to know now than when it's too late to do anything about it.
What are you going to tell Alice?
What's there to say?
Well, with her planning the wedding, there ought to be some explanation. You, want me to tell her?
Just say I changed my mind and I'm heading west.
Where are you going?
Back to Dodge.
To look up the Mahler Brothers?
If they've killed me, I don't see any reason to let them go on living.
Chester, can you force it up a little more?
Well, no, not much, Mr. Dillon.
Come on, now. Yeah, that's better. Hold it then.
Well, can it turn loose now?
Now, let's just try one more nail.
Oh, the only thing that's going to fix this door is a whole new door, Mr. Dillon.
There. That'll hold it for a while.
Cussed wood so rotten dry it won't hold a nail no more.
Well, haven't you two given up with that door yet?
Oh, hello, Kitty.
I give up a long time ago, Miss Kitty.
Matt, Jim Nielson's back in town.
Jim Nielson?
What? Nielson's dead, Kitty.
No, he's not. He's at the Long Branch right now, spreading the word that he's come back to kill the Mahler brothers.
Are you sure?
I've seen him. I've heard him.
All of the Mahler boys heard about it?
It won't take long, the way it's getting talked about.
Tom Mahler rode up to Clay City, Mr. Dillon, day before yesterday. Charlie's the only one in town.
Then I guess I better go see him.
What about Nielsen?
Well, if he's spreading the word, he'll be where I can find him anytime I want. Charlie.
Oh. Afternoon, Marshal.
Hello, Charlie. What's the trouble?
Oh, this blamed mare got a rock in her hoof. She won't even let me pick it up.
You want me to hold her for you?
No, I'll manage. How are you, Marshal?
Oh, I'm fine, Charlie. Fine. Charlie, did you know that Jim Nielson was in town?
Nielson? Nielson's dead, Marshal. Tom did for him.
He's not dead. He's back in Dodge looking for you and Tom.
All right. He's welcome.
Look, Charlie, I know a lot of people are on your side, but there are a lot of others on Nielson's, and I'd like to stop this trouble before it goes any further.
It was a fair fight, Marshal.
I know it was.
Any time Nielson wants to stand up again against either of us, we'll be ready.
It'd be better if you'd stay out of sight until he leaves.
I can't do that, Marshal, and you know it. People would say I was a coward.
What people say isn't important, Charlie.
I don't hide from nobody.
The only thing behind that fight was some temper and some strong words. Aren't you man enough to forget it?
What are you going to do about it, Marshal?
There's nothing I can do if you're set on facing Nielsen. Except try and get him out of town.
Free yourself of old-fashioned ideas.
Why don't you live modern? Live modern. Live modern.
Free up. Freshen up your taste.
Smoke an L&M.
Only the modern miracle of the pure white miracle tip can bring all of L&M's full, exciting flavor through to you. And that's the big reason why today more people are changing to L&M than to any other cigarette. Remember, L&M draws easier, tastes richer, smokes cleaner. So live modern. Change to L&M.
Make today your big red letter day and start to live the modern way. Live, live, live modern. Smoke an L&M.
It's America's fastest growing cigarette.
Hello, Nielson.
Marshal?
Well, I didn't expect you'd ever get to Dodge again.
Guess you thought I was dead, Marshal, along with a lot of other people.
You didn't look very healthy when they took you out of here.
I'm still alive, for a little while anyway.
What good's it doing you to be back here?
Well, everybody figured the fight was over, but I don't happen to think that way.
It's a lot of trouble over nothing. You and the Mahler Brothers are good men and peaceful ones. You were drinking and there were some names called. But that's sure no reason for you to come back and stir it all up again.
They thought they'd kill me, Marshal, and they were proud of it.
I don't think they were. Look, Jim, I'd like it if you'd go back to Abilene.
I'm not going to do it, Marshal. I got nothing to go back to, nowhere.
What does that mean?
I'm going to die from that gunfight we had. The bullet's still in me.
Oh. There's nothing to be done about it, huh?
No. Nothing but try and settle the score.
I don't see how you're going to be any better off trying to kill two good men, Jim.
Marshal, it's a funny thing knowing you're going to die. I had too much to live for when I faced up to him the first time. I was going to get married. I owned some land. Those were the things I was thinking about. I got scared and tightened up. Man shouldn't have anything to think about in a gunfight.
It was kind of hard not to.
But I don't have now, Marshal. I don't have a thing to lose.
Jim, you're a bad man to have in town.
I won't be here long. You can count on that. Drink with me, Marshal?
No. No, not tonight, thanks.
Nielson. I hear you're looking for me and my brother.
You forget it, Charlie, and get out of here.
Where should I get out to, Marshal? You want me to run away, Nielson?
Hold it, Charlie!
Is he dead, Marshal?
Yeah, he's dead. You satisfied now, Nielson?
It was a fair fight, just like the first one.
And just as needless.
Not to my way of thinking. Tell me, Marshal, when's Charlie's brother gonna get back to town?
Tom! Hold up a minute, Tom!
Here. Well, hello, Chester. What you doing way out here?
Mr. Dillon wanted me to stop you before you got up to the plaza.
Yeah, what for?
Well, Jim Nielson's waiting for you.
Nielson? Wait, What about my brother?
Charlie's dead, Tom.
Did Nielson do it?
Charlie come after him.
I thank you, Chester. Thank the marshal.
Tom, you gonna ride in anyway?
I got no place else to go.
Free yourself of old-fashioned ideas.
Why don't you live modern? Live modern. Live modern.
Free up. Freshen up your taste.
Smoke an L&M.
Live modern. Smoke modern. Smoke L&M. Enjoy full, exciting flavor through L&M's pure white miracle tip. L&M draws easier, tastes richer, smokes cleaner. That's why today more people are changing to L&M than to any other cigarette. So free up, freshen up your taste, live modern, change to L&M.
Make today your big red letter day and start to live the modern way. Live modern. Smoke an L&M.
It's America's fastest growing cigarette.
Hello, Kitty.
Tom, I thought you were in Clay City.
I was. I did real well, too. I signed up for Charlie and me. Take a pack train clear to Lincoln County. Charlie's dead.
Can I get you a drink, Tom?
Maybe later. I thought Nielson was here.
He left about a half hour ago.
Happen to know where he went?
No. Can't you get your pack train together and go, Tom?
Oh, you know I can't, Kitty.
What good's it gonna do you looking for Nielson or waiting for him?
It's something I got to do.
If he kills you, what are you gonna be proving?
My brother's dead.
Killing Nielson won't bring him back. Some men ought to be killed, sure, but not you and Nielson. You're fine men, both of you.
My brother was a good man, too. Kitty, what would you have me do?
I don't know, Tom. Being the kind you are, and after what's already happened, I guess I got no right trying to tell you what to do.
Now, do you know if Nielson figured on coming back here?
I don't know, Tom. I'm going to my room.
I was just about to order that drink.
Then you'll have to have it without me.
Thank you for sitting with me, Kitty.
Matt, how long have you been here?
There's not a thing I can do, is there, Kitty?
Not if you don't take the guns away.
They'd only find more.
Then you watch them kill each other, Matt. I can't do it.
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah?
He's coming, Mr. Dillon.
How long, Chester?
It won't be but a few minutes. He was looking for Tom over at the Alfreganza.
All right. You get out of sight someplace.
All right, sir.
Afternoon, Marshal.
Hello, Tom. Look, Tom, I'm going to ask you to do a brave thing. Will you let me keep your gun for as long as you're in town?
No, I won't, Marshal.
You and I have been good friends, Tom.
I'd like to keep it that way.
But you won't do what I say, huh?
What would you do was you in my spot?
What you're gonna do, I guess. Tom, it's a different kind of a fight this time. Nielson's gonna die from the bullet you put in him 2 months ago, and he knows it. He's got nothing to lose.
I kind of wondered why he come back.
That's why. Now, will you either take off your gun or get out of town?
I'd like to leave, Marshal. I'd like to be rigging our string of mules with Charlie. But there won't be any more of that.
All right, Tom. I told Nielson, and I'll tell you from the beginning, this thing has been needless. My mistake was not throwing the three of you in jail right off.
Marshal Dillon, have a drink with me.
No, thanks, Tom. I'm going back to my office. Goodbye. Well, Nielson, I guess there's no reason trying to talk any sense into you either.
It's gone past talking, Marshal. You aren't figuring on stopping me.
There's nothing I can do.
I'll see you later.
Matt? Doc. How,
There was nothing I could do for him, Matt. He's dead.
Oh, my goodness. Seemed like such a waste. He was a good man, both of them was.
There's no reason for you to feel bad, Matt. You tried your very best to stop it.
Someday there's going to be a law about carrying guns, and there's going to be fights like these that'll bring it.
A man's got the right, Mr. Dillon.
They're going to lose it, Chester, if this sort of thing doesn't stop. Doc, I'll have the body taken away.
All right, Matt.
I'll go with you if you want me to.
Yeah, sure, Chester. I think I'm ready for that drink everybody offered me.
Me too. You reckon Miss Kitty knows?
By this time, I'd think so.
There he is, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Hey, Nielson! Well, you made it, huh? You killed both the Mahler brothers.
Yeah?
And in fair fight, huh?
Yeah.
I want to ask you something. Make you feel any better?
No. Tell you the truth, it don't.
In a moment, our star, William Conrad. Americans today are earning more money than ever before. And smart Americans are planning ahead, too, to preserve prosperity. They're investing part of their paycheck every payday in United States savings bonds. And you can, too, an easy, automatic way, by joining the payroll savings plan and buying savings bonds regularly where you work. With payroll savings, money is set aside for you by your employer before every payday, in any amount you say. That way, you never plan on the money and never miss it. Payday after payday, these sums grow into savings bonds, and before long, you'll find you have a collection of them. And remember, every Series E bond you buy pays back $4 at maturity for every 3. That's right. You get back $4 for every 3 invested. Help today's higher earning power pay off for you tomorrow Begin saving regularly with United States savings bonds. Join the payroll savings plan. And now, William Conrad.
You know, on the frontier, a woman had to scratch pretty hard to make any kind of a home for a man. And next week, a woman who had worked at this for over 20 years finally lets the frontier beat her, and a man dies. But that was the West.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The script was specially written for Gunsmoke by Gil Dowd, with editorial supervision by John Meston. The music was composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Ray Kemper and Bill James. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Vic Perrin, Lawrence Dobkin, and Jess Kirkpatrick. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Join us again next week for another specially transcribed story on Gunsmoke.
And with that episode of Gunsmoke, we conclude our look at 68 years ago today, Sunday, October 14th, 1956. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie, The Casebook of Gregory Hood, an episode of Suspense, and Superman. But right now, we head to the movies for an episode of the Lux Radio Theater.
Are you saving old newspapers, magazines, paper bags, and boxes? Paper is a vital war material, and there's a serious shortage. Sell your waste paper or give it to a local charity. And now we move out of the theater and into the street.
We continue with Classic Radio Theater by going to the movies and an episode of the Lux Radio Theater, Humphrey, Bogart, Lauren Bacall, starring in the 1944 motion picture To Have and Have Not. This episode of Lux Radio Theater, the first portion, will be first, and that will be because it will be aired before the second portions. This was originally broadcast 78 years ago, October 14th, 1946.
Lux presents Hollywood. The Lux Radio Theater brings you Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in To Have and Have Not. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. William Keighley.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. We've had many premieres on the Lux Radio Theater. And tonight, on our 12th anniversary, we bring you one of Hollywood's most fascinating couples, together for the first time on the air. They are Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, co-starred in Warner Brothers' thrilling screenplay, To Have and Have Not. To Have and Have Not is a story of intrigue and action, with Lauren Bacall in the sultry and romantic role that won her instantaneous acclaim. To bring the Bogart family to rehearsals, we had to lure them from their brand new mountain home, where, along with a dog, 14 chickens, and 8 ducks, they are still in the process of getting settled. No phone as yet, no tables, and no drapes. But if you should drop in on a friendly visit of inspection, as I did, you'd find Lux Flakes doing their part in washing curtains, bedspreads, blankets, etc., etc., etc. When I commented on this fact, Bogie assured me that on his 54-foot yawl in Newport Harbor, which is the Bogart's home away from home, Lux Flakes are a standard part of the equipment, making this family loyal to Lux Flakes on land and sea. It's curtain time, and here's the first act of To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey Bogart as Harry Morgan and Lauren Bacall as Mary Browning. In 1940, following the fall of France, the rule of the new Vichy government stretched to a group of islands due east and south of the tip of Florida, the French West Indies, among them the island of Martinique. It's early evening. At a little town on the Martinique coast, a boat has just come into port.
All right, Eddie, tie her up.
That's what I'm doing, Harry. Tying her up good.
Well, Mr. Johnson, want to go out again in the morning?
No, I'm fed up with this kind of fishing.
Yeah, I can see how you would be. You hook a couple of marlin that any good fisherman would give his life to tie in when you lose them both.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, you're just unlucky.
Shut up, Eddie. About my bill. 16 days plus the rod and reel you lost overboard.
The fishing tackle's your risk.
Not when you lose it the way you did.
I paid for the rent of it every day.
Now, look, if you hired a car and ran it over a cliff, you'd have to pay for it.
Well, that's entirely different.
Not if you was in it. That's a good one, Harry?
Yeah, that's a good one, Eddie.
Now, look, I'm not trying
You lost that gear through carelessness. It cost me $275. Then there's 16 days at $35 a day. That's a total of $835.
I'll go to the bank in the morning.
I was figuring you'd pay me off tonight.
I don't keep cash like that at the hotel.
Okay.
Well, let's go up and have a drink.
Yeah, why not? All right, lock up, Eddie.
You mean I can't go with you?
That's just what I mean.
That drunken old fool.
Hey, look, Mr. Johnson, Eddie's my worry, see? Now, don't you worry about Eddie.
Well, are you coming or not?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Well, monsieur, what luck today?
Not so good, Frenchie.
Couple of bourbons straight.
What are you doing behind the bar, Frenchie?
Oh, a small hotel like this, Harry, the proprietor does a little of everything. So, the fish would not bite, eh? Maybe tomorrow you do better, eh?
Not me. I'm through. This is my last day.
Oh, that's too bad, eh?
Yeah.
Well, here's to you. I'm going to wash up. Oh, that bill was
$835.
$835.
Oh, Johnson.
Yeah?
What time tomorrow morning?
Oh, after the bank opens, around 10:30.
I'll be waiting.
Harry, you are free after today? No more fishing parties?
Why?
There are some people who want to hire your boat.
No, not a chance.
They only want it for one night, Harry. They pay well.
Well, I can't afford to get mixed up in politics.
I would not speak it if we were not on board.
You better not speak at all. Company's coming.
Company? Oh, good evening, mademoiselle.
Anybody got a match?
Oh, yeah. Here's a match.
Thanks.
Hey, who's that?
She came in on the afternoon plane.
Oh. Well, about my boat, I know what your sympathies are, and it's all right for you, but I don't want any part of it.
They are coming here tonight, Harry, to talk to you.
Well, then get word to them. They'd be wasting their time.
Oh, I am sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Harry, I've been looking all over for
What's doing, Frenchie?
Those men who wanted to see you. I was unable to reach them.
Well, tell them when I get here.
It is dangerous for them to come here at all, but to come here for nothing. Oh, you don't even listen.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my client, Mr. Johnson. What's that dame doing with Johnson?
Dame?
The one who was out of matches.
Oh, she's been with Johnson all evening. Her name is Browning, Marie Browning. Oh, she's leaving.
Yeah, so am I. How are you?
Who? Oh, hello.
Going someplace?
Just to my room, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind, but mine's much closer. It's right here.
Say, mister, what's got into you?
Come on, let's have it.
Have what?
Johnson's wallet. I want that wallet, Slim.
I'd rather you wouldn't call me Slim. You see, Steve, I'm a little too skinny to take it kindly.
I'll quit the baby talk and hand it over.
I didn't know you were a hotel detective.
Johnson's my client.
He didn't speak so well of you.
Well, he's still my client.
Here.
That's more like it. Johnson owes me money. You know, you ought to pick on somebody to steal from who doesn't owe me money.
He dropped his wallet and I picked it up.
And you were going to give it back to him.
No, I wasn't. I don't like him.
Well, that's a pretty good reason.
Besides, I need boat fare to get out of Martinique.
That's another good reason.
Well, what's in it?
$60, a plane ticket, and $1,400 in traveler's checks.
Did you expect more?
Well, Bert owed me $835. And he said he'd have to go back to the bank tomorrow, and all the time he's got a ticket on a plane leaving at daylight.
Then I've done you a favor.
That's right. Well, I'm entitled to something. See, what do you think it's fair? 50-50?
Well, company.
Please, Harry, I told him what you said, but I insisted on...
It is not Gerard's fault, Mr. Morgan. I am Jean Beauclair. Come in, boys, and close the door.
I told Gerard I wasn't interested.
Wait a minute, this girl.
I'd better go.
No, stick around. It's all right to talk in front of you, isn't it, Slim?
Go ahead, I don't mind.
We'll give you 2,500 francs. We'd offer you more, but we haven't got it.
Sorry, my boat's not available.
I thought all Americans were friendly to our side, Monsieur Morgan.
Yeah, well, there's a rumor they put fellas on Devil's Island for doing what you're doing. I'm not that friendly to anybody.
Hey!
Who's that?
Relax. In here, Eddie.
Hiya, Harry. Say, I wanted to talk to you about the...
Hey, who are these guys? I saw them hanging around the dock after you left.
For one who drinks, you have a good memory.
Drinking don't bother my memory. If I did, I wouldn't drink. Forget how good it was. Say, was you ever bit by a dead bee?
I have no memory of ever being bitten by any kind of bee.
Were you, Eddie?
Was I? Say, you're all right. You know, you gotta be careful of dead bees if you go around barefooted, because if you step on them, they sting you just as bad as if they's alive. I bet I've been bit 100 times that way.
Why don't you bite them back?
That's what Harry always says. But I ain't got no stinger.
Please, must we listen to this?
All right, Eddie. What'd you want?
Huh? Oh, I guess I forgot, Harry.
Yeah, well, then I'll see you down at the dock later on tonight.
Say, Harry, could you let me have a couple
Here.
of... thanks.
You're all right, Harry. Well, so long.
Now, look, Beauclair, I don't care who runs France or Martinique or who wants to run it. You'll have to get somebody else's boat.
You're leaving?
Yeah. Make yourselves at home.
Good night, gentlemen.
Sorry, Beauclair, but I got a client waiting downstairs. Come on, Slim. I want to see Johnson's face when you hand him back his wallet.
Well, there he is, still sitting at the same table.
Hey, where you been? I've been looking all over for you. You're a fine one, Morgan, running off with my girl.
She's got something she wants to give you, Mr. Johnson. Go ahead, Slim. Hand it over.
That's my wallet.
Yeah.
Where'd you get this?
I stole it.
Stole it? And just what are you going to do about it?
The question is, what are you going to do about it? Maybe you'd better look it over.
Oh, it's all right, I'm sure.
Oh, you better be sure the plane ticket's still there.
Goodbye, Mr. Morgan.
You're not staying, huh?
No, we're not staying.
Excuse the interruption, Mr. Johnson.
Now, look, I was going to pay you off.
Sure, you were going to sign some of those traveler's checks, weren't you?
I wouldn't skip out on you.
Yeah, well, here's a pen. Start signing.
835.
That's right, 835.
Oh, what's that? What's going on there?
Police.
Look, Steve, those men who are just in your room, they're after
Pipe down, baby, and duck quick.
Harry, he's dead. Mr. Johnson is dead.
Yeah, that's right, Frenchie. Stray bullet. He couldn't ride any faster than he could duck. How do you feel, Slim?
Oh, I'm fine, Steve, just
Another
fine.
minute and those traveler's checks would have been good.
Has it struck you it might be an idea to get out of here?
Oh, it is no use. The police are coming back.
They were after your friends, huh, Beauclair?
Yes.
You, Gerard, stay where you are.
Remember, you know nothing?
Hey, they're not regular cops.
No, Sûreté Nationale.
Gestapo, huh?
Yes, quiet now, quiet.
What happened to this man on the floor?
A stray bullet, monsieur. His name is Johnson, an American.
Unfortunate. Take him away. Your attention, everyone. There is no cause for alarm. Inspector Renard is only interested in those persons who have violated regulations. Monsieur Gerard.
Yes?
Headquarters for questioning. And you?
It's not nice to point, Lieutenant. The name's Morgan.
Shut up. You, mademoiselle.
Say, Steve, was you ever bit by a dead bee?
You will come with us at once. Hello? No, I told you nothing new. Beauclair and the others escaped. I don't know. Yes, later.
Now then, you were saying, Monsieur Morgan, you did not know those men.
That's right, Inspector.
What was your connection with the dead man, Monsieur Johnson?
He chartered my boat.
But he was leaving Martinique in the morning, eh? Ah, his wallet here. There is no money in it, only traveler's checks.
Yeah, well, there was some money in it. $60. I took it.
Why?
Because he owed me over $800.
You will surrender it, please.
Oh, wait a minute.
And your passport. But do not be concerned. If your claim is just, it will be returned. That is all at the moment. Mademoiselle?
Yes?
Mary Browning, American, age 22. How long have you been in the city?
I arrived by plane this afternoon.
Residence?
Hotel Marquis.
Where did you come from?
Trinidad.
Alone?
Yes.
Why did you get off here?
To buy a new hat.
Why?
To buy a new hat. Read the label. Maybe you'll believe me then.
I never doubted you. It is your tone that is objectionable. I will ask you again.
Because I didn't have money enough to go further.
Where were you when the shooting occurred?
I was in...
You don't have to answer that stuff.
Shut up, you.
Don't answer it.
I told you to shut up.
Go ahead. Slap me.
Monsieur Morgan, we wish merely to get to the bottom of this affair.
Well, you'll never do it by slapping people around. It's bad luck.
We shall see. If we need to question you further, you will be at the hotel?
Well, you've got my dough and my passport. I'm stuck.
By the way, what are your sympathies?
Minding my own business.
May I suggest
I don't need any advice about continuing to do it either. Let's go, Slim. How do you feel?
I'm breathing fresh air again, but I don't understand all this. What's it about, Steve?
Well, you see that character Reynard works for Vichy. You know what that is.
Yeah, something you put in a drink, isn't it?
Yeah, that's close enough. Well, the other fellas, the ones they were shooting at in the hotel there, they're free French. Most of the people on the island are, but they haven't been able to do much about it.
You know, I could use a drink.
Well, there's a cafe across the street. Let's... Uh-oh, I forgot. No dough. Those guys cleaned me out, remember?
Maybe I can do something about that. Another Mr. Johnson, maybe. Oh, any objections?
Well, if you're that thirsty, go ahead.
You don't mind?
I'll wait out here. If I get tired, I'll be back at the hotel.
You're not sore, are you?
Oh, why should I be?
I won't be long.
Come in?
You didn't wait for me very long, did you?
No.
You're sore, aren't you?
Well, why should I be sore?
Well, I didn't behave very well, did I?
Yes, you did all right. I see you got a bottle.
There was a naval officer. I asked for a bottle, and he gave it to me.
Just like that.
Yeah, he was feeling good, but you're not.
Now, look, I don't give
I know. You don't give a hoop what I do. But when I do it, you get sore. After all, you told me to, you know.
I told you.
Well, you said go ahead, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I guess I did.
Would you rather I wouldn't do things like that?
Oh, why ask me?
I'd like to know.
Well, of all the screwy...
All right, I won't do it anymore.
Now, look, I didn't
I know you didn't. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, as long as you do, sit down. How long have you been away from home?
This is about the time for it, isn't it? The story of my life.
I got a pretty fair idea already.
Who told you?
You did? That slap you took from Reynard, you hardly blinked an eye. It takes practice to be able to do that.
The next time I get slapped, I'll be sure to do something about it.
Hey, you forgot your bottle.
I don't want it.
Who's sore now?
I am. Who is it?
It's me.
The door's unlocked.
Here's your bottle.
I said I didn't want it.
Oh, you are sore, aren't you? I asked you a question. You didn't answer me. I said you're sore, aren't you?
Look, I'm tired. I'd like to get some sleep.
What's made you so mad?
I've been mad ever since I met you.
Well, most people are.
One look and you made up your mind just what you wanted to think about me.
Well, go ahead. Keep going.
You don't know me at all, Steve. It doesn't work, Steve. I brought that bottle up here to make you feel cheap. And that didn't work either. Instead, I'm the one who feels cheap, and I've never felt that way before. I wanted to... Well, I thought that... Get out of here, will you, before I make a complete fool of myself.
How long have you been away from home, Slim?
About 6 months.
Going back?
How?
Oh, what are you going to do here?
I don't know. Get a job, maybe.
Jobs are hard to get. Nice perfume.
Remind you of somebody, Steve?
No, this is the brand new one to me. Would you go back if you could?
I'd walk if it weren't for all that water. Good night, Steve.
Good night. And quit worrying. You'll get back all right.
Could I see you for a minute?
What the? Oh, all right. Open the door.
Here's that bottle again.
Yeah, that bottle's getting to be quite a problem, isn't it? Well, you want a drink?
No,
I thought you were so tired.
I am. But you gave me something to think about. You said you might be able to help me.
That's right.
You're going to take that job with those men Frenchie brought up here?
Yeah, if I can find what's left of them, but don't get the idea I'd take that job just to help you. I need money, too.
Wait a minute. Here, can you use this?
Oh, now that's great. She carries her dough in her shoe. And I thought you said you were broke. Oh, you're awful good, Slim. I'd walk home if it weren't for all that water.
Who was the girl, Steve?
Who was what girl?
The one who left you with such a high opinion of women. You think I lied to you about this money, don't you? Well, there's $32 here. Not enough for boat fare or any other kind of fare. But you can have it if you want it.
I'm sorry. I still say you're awful good, and I wouldn't...
I know. You wouldn't take anything from anyone. You know, Steve, you're not very hard to figure. Only at times. Most of the time, I know exactly what you're going to say. The other times, you're just a stinker.
What'd you kiss me for?
I've been wondering whether I'd like it.
What's the decision?
I don't know yet.
Do you know now?
Well, that was better. You're sure you won't change your mind about the money?
Uh-huh.
The money belongs to me, and so do my lips. I don't see any difference.
Oh, I do.
Okay. You know you don't have to act with me, Steve. You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything. Not a thing. Oh, maybe just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
You just put your lips together and...
Our stars, Humphrey Bogart and Lorand Bacall, will return with Act Two of To Have and Have Not in just a moment. Where have you been today, Libby?
Sure, and I've been drinking cambric tea with a sweet and gracious little lady.
Oh, someone with an Irish brogue.
A temporary brogue. Margaret O'Brien had to learn it for her part in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Three Wise Fools, so she loves to practice it.
Margaret never lacks for admirers.
Oh, everyone she works with adores her. It's no wonder she's so convincing in Three Wise Fools when she wraps the three old bachelors around her finger. Lionel Barrymore, Lewis Stone, and Edward Arnold enjoyed it thoroughly.
Margaret takes a keen interest in the other actors, doesn't she?
Oh, yes. I don't know whether she was more intrigued by a troupe of midgets who masquerade as fairies or by lovely Sid Charisse, the famous ballerina. Margaret dances in her next picture, so Sid taught her some ballet steps between scenes in MGM's Three Wise Fools.
Sounds like quite a stocking risk for Sid.
Oh, no. Her stockings hardly ever get runs. She told Margaret the fairies helped her.
The fairies in a box of Lux Flakes?
You guessed it. Having a box of Lux is just like having a troupe of fairy godmothers to help you.
That's right. Lux Help stockings last twice as long, so you get the wear of an extra pair from every one you buy. That's just like having a fairy godmother present you with an extra pair.
You're sure that's no fairy tale?
Quite. We've scientific tests to back it up. Dozens of stockings were washed with Lux Flakes, the same number with a strong soap. Then strain tests were made to see how soon they'd go into runs. The Lux stockings lasted twice as long. Rayon, nylon, silk, and cotton all showed similar results.
That's like finding extra stockings in every box of Lux.
Remember, those Lux Flakes are precious. Don't waste them.
The first part of the Lux Radio Theater from 78 years ago, October 14th, 1946. We'll hear part two following these messages.
And now, a brief reminder from Uncle Sam that to the millions of American men and women overseas, nothing is more important than mail from home. Write often. Make your letters cheerful. And be sure to use V-mail. V-mail is private, speedy, safer, and it helps to lighten the burden of delivery.
Now back to the wartime romantic war adventure film To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey, Bogart, Lauren Bacall. This aired after the war ended, 78 years ago, October 14th, 1946.
Here's your producer, William Keeley.
Act 2 of To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey Bogart as Harry Morgan and Lauren Bacall as Marie. Since escaping the Vichy police, Jean Beauclair of the French underground has been hiding out on the outskirts of town, a bullet wound in his leg. It's early morning now, and Beauclair has two visitors, Gerard, the hotel proprietor, and Harry Morgan.
Last night, Mr. Morgan, you definitely refused to have anything to do with us. Why have you changed your mind?
I need the money. Last night I didn't. What's the job?
You will take your boat to Angela, about 3 kilometers from the point.
The cove and little jetty.
You know it then.
Yeah.
You will go at night. When you're off the jetty, flash a light. It will be answered. There will be 2 people to take aboard. I know the name of only one, Paul de Brissac.
How about landing him back here?
Oh, not here. You know Cape St. Pierre, Harry?
Uh-huh.
I will have a rowboat and we'll meet you there offshore.
Okay, I'll leave around noon. With luck and no patrol boats, I'll be back at St. Pierre a little after midnight. Well, I won't be carrying lights, Frenchy, so keep your eyes open.
If it weren't for this leg of mine, I'm glad you're on our side, Morgan.
Oh, I'm not. I'm getting paid. Oh, I'd like my money now.
There, that envelope.
Thanks. How is the leg?
Please, I'd feel better if you were on your way.
All right, good luck.
You need the luck now. You and de Brissac. Oh, that girl, Morgan. The one you call Slim.
Well, she's leaving Martinique on the afternoon plane. We can both forget about her.
Morning, Steve. Have some breakfast?
I had mine 2 hours ago.
What have you been doing?
Arranging so you could get on the afternoon plane. Can you make it?
Sure.
Frenchy here will see you get the ticket.
Gladly, if you wish.
You took that job, didn't you?
Yeah. I figured this way you wouldn't get your feet wet.
You want me to go, Steve?
Yes. I want you to go.
Okay.
Help her get on that plane, will you, Frenchy?
I will.
Well, I've got to get down to the dock. I probably won't see you again. If I ever do get up your way,
Yes, do that. I'll leave my address with Frenchy.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll know how to whistle by then.
So long, Mr. Morgan. Well, it was nice while it lasted.
Perhaps it is better this way, Miss Browning. A strange man. Very strange.
Yeah.
Come out of there. Come on out of there before I... Eddie.
Put down the gun, Harry. It's just me.
Now, how'd you get aboard? I thought I told you to...
I sneaked on at the dock while you was working on the engines.
Oh, if I thought you could swim, I'd dump you overboard.
You're an old joker, Harry. You and me's got to stick together when there's trouble.
How do you know there's trouble?
You can't fool me. Say, where are we going?
Eddie, what would you do if somebody took a shot at you?
Took a shot at me? With a gun? Who's going to shoot at me?
Well, if you're lucky, nobody.
Harry, where are we going?
I'll tell you when the time comes. Put on a sweater. It's getting cold.
Say, what's going on? What's all the darn guns for? 2 rifles and...
In case we run into a shark or something.
And what do you mean, or something?
We're going on a job. Can you shoot one of those things?
Anybody knows how to handle a rifle. All you got to do is work the lever and pull the trigger. What do I got to work a gun for?
I just wondered if you could.
Sometimes you act so stupid, Harry. Sometimes... Is it going to be that bad?
It all depends.
That's why you didn't want to carry me. You was afraid I'd get hurt. You was thinking of me. What are you laughing at?
I was just wondering whether you're going to hold together or not.
I'm a good man, Harry. You know I am.
Yeah, well, we're going to pick up a couple of guys, Eddie. Now take this gun and get aft. If there's any trouble, start shooting. Yeah, but don't shoot me.
Yeah, but supposing something happens to you, what do I do then?
Oh, how do I know? You invited yourself on this trip. We'll make an Angela in about 30 minutes.
There they are, Harry. jetty. I seen him come out of the shadows.
Turn off that flashlight.
Yes, monsieur.
All right, get aboard. There's a strong tide here.
We are coming. Who are you, please?
Beauclair sent me. My name's Morgan.
It's all right, Helene. Quickly now.
Now, wait a minute. Beauclair didn't say anything about a woman.
Permit me, Captain. This is my wife.
How do you do?
Now, what do you want to bring her? Well, it's your funeral. All right, Eddie, let's get out of here.
What happened to Beauclair, Captain?
Well, he ran into a little trouble.
Monsieur Morgan, who are you?
I own this boat. Beauclair hired me to pick you up.
You're on our side?
No.
I don't understand.
Well, I don't understand what kind of a war you guys was fighting. Lugging your wives around with you.
You're being paid for this.
That's what I said.
Then I suggest you stop talking and get us to Martinique.
That's just where we're going, sister.
We'll hit the Cape pretty soon, Harry. You want I should store the rifles? I said you want I should store...
Shut up.
There you go again. I asked you...
Turn the motors off.
Huh?
Turn them off. See anything? You hear anything?
No.
Listen. There's a ship out there.
Patrol boat.
Take the wheel, Eddie.
Why did you shut off your engine?
Keep quiet.
What is it?
It is a patrol boat, ain't it?
Here, give me that gun.
You can't fight them guys.
Oh, what's the matter, Eddie? This is where you ought to be telling me how good you are.
Well, I can do it, but what do you want me to do?
What does this mean, Monsieur Morgan?
You and your wife get down on the deck and stay there.
You'll try to resist them with a rifle?
They've got a searchlight. They see us.
Down on the deck. You save France. I'm going to save my boat.
Stand by! Stand by or we'll fire!
Harry, get their searchlight. Shoot it out.
Well, I can try anyway.
You got it, Harry. Hey, you want me to shoot too?
Stay on that wheel. Full speed, Eddie. All she's got. Hurry.
Oh, they're shooting at us.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Save your breath, mister.
They'll run us down. They'll sink us.
Yeah, they might. That's a chance we'll have to take. Get down. Duck.
Oh!
Got him, huh?
Yeah.
He should have laid down.
Well, he's down now.
Do something. Please, do something.
I am, lady. I'm getting us out of here.
Coming in on the Cape, Harry.
Yeah, take over for a while and watch for Frenchie's boat. Well, how's your husband?
Please, help me get him on the seat.
Now, we'll leave him where he is. It's just his arm. Besides, I don't want him bleeding all over my cushion.
How can you be so heartless?
That's something I ask myself at least once a day. Now, we'll be picking up Gerard any minute. He'll take care of both of you.
Where will he take us?
I don't know.
There he is, Harry.
Okay, slow down and watch the drift.
Can't I get a drink now? Just one.
Sorry, Eddie. I need one worse than you do. Yeah?
Hello, Steve.
Ah. That all you got to say? What's the idea, Slim? What happened to that plane?
I missed it.
Why? Didn't you like the accommodations, or
I
didn't
just
you...
decided to stay.
Oh, now, look,
Well,
I've been to a lot of trouble to get you out of here, and...
That's why I didn't go. Not sore, are you?
Well, it'd be all right if I had any dough.
I got a refund on the ticket. Here.
Oh, that's going to help a lot.
I'll be all right, Steve. I've got a job. Frenchie seems to think I can sing.
Well, it's his place.
Sometimes you make me so mad I
Harry.
You could what?
Harry, I need your help. De Bursac is badly wounded.
Well, the bullet hit the gun first and is practically spent. All you got to do is get somebody to take it out.
We don't dare call a doctor. You could...
Me? I'm hotter than any doctor right now. Don't you think they recognize my boat? All I got to do is walk out of here.
You don't have to go out of here. De Bursac is in the cellar.
Oh, why didn't you put him in a goldfish bowl in the lobby?
We had to do something. They're watching every road out of town.
Well, Slim, you see what you got yourself into sticking around here?
I'm ready to leave anytime you are.
Oh, Harry,
Not a
please.
chance.
Harry, my wife tells me your bill is overdue. 6,356 francs.
Oh.
We will be glad to dismiss the bill if you will do this for us.
You'll throw her bill in too, Slim's?
Yes, hers too.
Uh-huh. Okay, you'll find a medical kit inside, Slim. Bring it down to cellar.
Sure.
And bring some boiling water, too.
Get away from him. You're not to touch my husband.
That's all right with me.
Oh, Harry, please. She's not herself.
Now, look, lady, they can't get a doctor without giving the whole show away.
I won't let you do it.
He's not badly hurt. He's unconscious because he's... Oh, come in, Slim.
Hello.
Miss Browning, this is Madame de Boussac.
Who are you? Nobody, just another volunteer. What'll I do with this water, Steve?
I dropped these instruments in it. You better get out of here, Mrs. de Boussac. You may not like this.
I'll be all right.
Then hold this can of chloroform. If he comes to while I'm probing, pour some on this cotton and give him a whiff. Don't open it until I tell you to.
His arm. Look at it. How can you?
Oh, fine. She's out.
Like a light.
Madame.
Oh, no, let her alone, Frenchie. Slim, any chloroform left?
Some. Enough, maybe.
All right, fan those fumes away or we'll all be out. Hey, wait a minute. Not towards her. Well, keep your fingers crossed. Let's have that dressing, Frenchie.
Here, Harry, here.
Bandages?
Now, you and Frenchie can do that. Adhesive tape in the box. I'm afraid the patient's going to recover. Well, I better get Nursey up off the floor. She may catch cold.
Oh, she's all right. Just fainted.
I've got her.
What are you trying to do? Guess her weight?
Oh, she's heftier than you think.
Maybe you'd better just look after her husband.
He's not going to run out on me.
Neither is she.
Yeah, when you're finished, go upstairs and get some sleep, and thanks for your help.
I'd rather stay here.
You heard me. Oh, for the love of... Now, what did I do?
You know, Harry, before I told Miss Browning you are a very strange man. Now I tell you, she is a very strange girl.
Yeah.
Funny. That is what she said. Yeah.
How do you feel now?
Very stupid. I'm not in the habit of fainting.
Well, your husband's okay. I just put him to sleep again with a pill.
I'll stay here with him.
Tell me, why did you tag along on a trip like this?
I wanted to be with him.
Well, that's no reason.
I was also told to come. They said no man was much good if he left someone behind for the Nazis to find and hold.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense.
I told them I'd be no good, but I was afraid. Now I've made Paul that way, too. Now he's afraid.
Well, he didn't invent it.
Invent what?
Being afraid.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Morgan,
You're not going to faint again, are you?
No. I'm just having a hard time trying to say something.
Well, I won't bite you.
I'm sorry for the way I behaved.
You're just sorry you made a fool of yourself.
You don't make me angry when you say that. I don't think I'll ever be angry again with anything you say.
Oh, another screwy dame. Now, how can you...
Hello. I hate to break this up, but I thought you'd want something to eat. Thank you. How's the patient, Doctor, or haven't you looked lately?
He'll be all right.
I hope you have everything you need here, Mrs. de Boussac. The eggs may be a little hard-boiled. Oh, they're fine. I like them that way. You're lucky, isn't she?
Well, I'm going up and get some sleep. If you need me, tell Gerard.
I followed you up here, Steve. Do you mind?
Oh, suit yourself.
Thanks.
For what?
I'd like a match.
Here.
Now I need a cigarette.
Well, help yourself.
Thank you. Steve, aren't you hungry?
Nope.
Let me help you take your shoes
Look, I'll
off.
take my own shoes off. All I want to do is get some sleep.
Then I'll fix you a nice hot bath. You'll sleep better.
Look, Junior, I'm not hungry. I'll take my own shoes off, and I don't want a nice hot bath.
You mean there's nothing I can do?
Uh-huh. You can get out.
You know, Mr. Morgan, you don't make me angry when you say that. I don't think I'll ever be angry again at anything you say. How am I doing, Steve? Does it work a second time?
Look, you want to do something for me, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, then, try this. Walk around me. No, go ahead, walk around me.
I don't get it.
You find anything?
No, Steve. There are no strings tied to you. Not yet.
What do you mean, not yet? Come here.
I like that. Except for the beard. Why don't you shave, Steve, and we'll try it again sometime.
Harry!
Yeah, Frenchie?
He's here. Inspector Renard. You better come right down.
Oh, no, not now, Frenchie. I gotta shave.
Harry, he's got your men. He's got Eddie.
He's got... Eddie?
Yes, he's giving whiskey. He's asking questions.
Well, I'll be right down then. No, Slim, I've got no strings. Only a rope right around my neck.
We pause now for station identification. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
We'll bring you Act 3 of To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, in a moment. Being discovered by a talent scout doesn't usually mean immediate stardom. Months of training in diction and acting may precede a starlet's introduction to the public. Our guest tonight, lovely Miss Carrie McCord, is training at Fox right now, and it looks as though big things were in store for her. Do you spend much time on the sets, Carrie?
Yes, indeed, Mr. Keeley. When I first signed, Fox was just finishing Darrell F. Zanuck's The Razor's Edge, and I watched Gene Tierney every chance I could.
An excellent way to learn technique.
Well, I liked Tyrone Powers, too.
Well, they were both perfect casting for Somerset Maugham's novel.
I'd love to be in a picture that called for a stunning wardrobe like Gene's.
You're naturally interested in clothes.
Oh, yes. I used to be a model. Fashion shows especially.
Well, Gene Tierney was also a model.
Oh, that's encouraging. We're alike in something else, too.
What's that?
Our clothes get the same kind of care.
Lux Flakes?
Naturally. I found out from the wardrobe mistress that the beautiful blouses and sweaters Gene wears in The Razor's Edge were washed regularly with Lux. I've used Lux for my own nice things for years.
You'll find Lux is the favorite of Hollywood studios, Carrie, because it takes such good care of colors and nice fabrics.
Well, that's been my experience, Mr. Kennedy.
Actual tests support that, too. Carefully supervised washing tests were made by a famous laboratory on dozens of different fabrics and colors. In case after case, those washed the Lux way were still lovely, when those washed the wrong way were faded and drab. In fact, the Luxed ones stayed color fresh and new-looking up to 3 times as long.
With the high cost of clothes these days, keeping them attractive longer is important to any girl.
And that's one of the reasons Lux is worth waiting for if you can't get it the first time you try. Just keep asking for it. More is on the way.
And the conclusion of the Lux Radio Theater presentation, To Have and Have Not, starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, follows these brief messages.
In a few seconds, faces and places in the news. But first, a reminder that the second war loan drive is now underway. This is a concern of all the people. $13 billion is a lot of money. It must be raised, and soon. Some of that money has to be yours. Buy an extra war bond every payday.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit us at classicradio.stream. If you're so inclined, you can buy me a copy there. We would greatly appreciate that. Now the conclusion of the Lux Radio Theater from 78 years ago, October 14th, 1946, To Have and Have Not.
Here's Mr. Keeley at the microphone.
After the play, we'll bring our stars back for their customary curtain call. Here they are in Act 3 of To Have and Have Not. Humphrey Bogart as Harry Morgan, Lauren Bacall as Marie. It's a few moments later. In a corner of the hotel bar, Harry Morgan finds Inspector Renard and Sergeant Coy of the Secret Police. Seated between them is Eddie.
We are buying your friend a drink, Captain Morgan. We find Mr. Eddie very entertaining when he drinks.
You hear that, Harry? He called me Mister.
Yeah, what were you boys talking about?
Yeah, I was telling him about the big marlin you and me hooked onto last night.
Oh, yeah.
That fish was so big that me and Harry could hardly budge him.
Yeah, that's right.
Must have weighed 1,000 pounds.
Every time he takes a drink, the fish grows larger.
Well, judging from what's left in this bottle, he must have started with a mackerel.
And how did you finally manage to land such a great fish?
Oh, didn't Eddie tell you? We didn't land him. We ran into a German submarine.
Oh? A German submarine?
Well, whatever it was that opened fire on us, I didn't stick around to find out.
I do not think anybody could give a more logical explanation for refusing to obey the challenge of our patrol boat.
Patrol boat? Oh, so that's what it was. Now, Eddie kept saying it was a patrol boat, but I wouldn't believe him.
Now we get down to business, eh, Morgan? What about your passengers last night?
What passengers?
The ones you brought over from Angela. Would $500 refresh your memory?
Oh, my memory's pretty good. For instance, I can remember you're the guy who lifted my passport and all my cash.
And if your passport, the money will return.
Including the $835 Johnson owed me?
Why not? Now, where are they? Your passengers.
Well, if these people are as important as you seem to think they are, they're going to be pretty hard for me to find.
For a man of your resourcefulness? Not too difficult. Think it over. Let me know, Morgan. Come along, Coyo.
Goodbye, Mr. Reddy. See me again when you get thirsty.
Them guys don't think that I'm wise, do they, Harry? They was trying to get me drunk. They don't know me, do they?
Wait, what happened? What did they want?
De Bersac.
I heard you're arranging a deal. Renard thinks you will turn them in, eh?
Well, that's what you want him to think, isn't it?
What will happen?
Well, Renard hasn't searched this hotel yet, has he?
No, not yet.
Well, here's your answer. Renard doesn't want just de Bersac and his wife. He wants the whole setup.
And what shall we do?
Oh, it's not we. It's you. And you can't do anything until de Bersac is strong enough to move. Now, how about some breakfast?
Sure.
I thought you didn't want any breakfast.
Oh, how are you, Slim?
I asked you before if you were hungry.
Sit down.
Hey, you know, Harry, them guys, they were trying to find out something. What do you suppose it is?
Well, you don't know?
No, I ain't got no idea.
Well, that's a good way to leave it. Say, you got the hiccups.
Have I, Harry? Oh, yeah.
Don't you think you'd better take a drink of water?
Water? I'm getting out of here. And don't you worry none about me, Harry.
Yeah, well, you stay away from the police. You know, they're not going to believe that story you told them a second time.
What story was that, Harry? I forgot.
Well, just beat it and keep out of sight.
Sure, Harry, sure.
Well, I'm starting work tonight, Steve.
You're a singer now, huh?
I'd be interested to know what you think. Will you be there?
I don't know, maybe.
So you decided to drop in, huh?
Yeah.
I do my song in a few minutes. Like my dress?
Well, you won't have to sing much in that outfit.
You know, Steve, sometimes you make me so
That's
mad.
why I do it. You haven't seen Eddie, have you?
Not since noon. Why?
Well, he left the boat and he hasn't come back.
Anything wrong?
Plenty. They don't look now, but there's a guy by the door been following me. Keep an eye on him, will you? I'll be down the cellar.
Give Mrs. de Bersac my love.
I'd give her my own if she had that dress on.
How's your patient?
That's what I'm going to find out.
Much better, Harry, you see?
There has been no bleeding all afternoon.
I am very grateful, monsieur, believe me.
Well, you won't need me anymore, de Bersac. Frenchie, I'm pulling out.
When?
As soon as I can find Eddie.
Missing?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go without him?
No, I don't think Eddie likes that. Now, look, Frenchie, as soon as I'm gone, Renard's going to turn this place upside down. You better start figuring how and where you're going to move our patient here.
It would be best if my wife and I went with you.
Well, I'm still trying to get out of the jam I got into bringing you here. Just why'd you come in the first place?
Did you ever hear of Pierre Villemar?
Villemar? Yeah. Hey, he was quite a guy. The Vichy got him, didn't he? Didn't they? He's dead, isn't he?
No, monsieur, he's not dead. He's on Devil's Island. They sent me here to get him. He's a man whom an oppressed people will believe in and follow.
And just how are you going to get him off Devil's Island?
You don't think much of me, do you, Monsieur Morgan? You're right. I am not a brave man.
Well, I'd still like to know how you're going to spring Villemar.
We will find a way. If it fails, if I die, someone else will try again. There always will be someone else.
Yeah.
Originally, we planned to do everything from here, but now, because of my clumsiness, it is impossible. That's the reason we have to go with you.
Well, they've got the docks covered. They're all over the place.
How will you go?
Well, they're watching me to find you. As long as I haven't got you along, I can get on my boat. There'll be a fog tonight. I can drift out beyond the breakwater before I start my engines. I'll have trouble enough without you.
Harry, if only
No, Morgan is right, Gerard. This is not his fight yet. Oh, Gerard told me of your refusing Renard's offer.
How do you know I won't take it?
There are many things a man will do, monsieur. But betrayal for a price is not in your makeup.
Well, good luck.
I hope you find your friend.
Thanks. Well, I'll be around, Frenchie. There are a few things I want to talk to you about before I blow.
Hey, I'll be up presently.
Any sign of Eddie?
No. Your friend's still at the door.
Yeah, so I see. I've got a hunch the whole thing's going to blow up, and soon.
Any plans, Steve?
Few. We're going to pull out of here tonight.
We?
Yeah. As soon as I can find Eddie, and don't look so happy about it. It'll be rough. I'm broke. If we do get out, it'll be with a couple of 100 gallons of gas and a few francs, just enough to get us to Port-au-Prince, maybe.
I've never been there.
I don't know when you'll get back home. It could be a long time.
Could be forever. Or is that what you're afraid of? I'm hard to get, Steve. All you have to do is ask me.
How long will it take you to... Oh, now, wait, break it up. We're being watched.
I better give out with another song anyway. I'll see you later on.
Yeah, later on.
Harry, she wants to see you. Madame de Bursac.
Now, look, Frenchie, that's all over.
I just took her to your room.
You what?
Please, Harry, she has to talk to you.
Okay. Tell Slim I'm... come to think of it, don't tell her anything. You shouldn't have come up here. It's too much of a chance.
I had to see you. It's about this jewelry. I'd like you to take these. They're all Paul and I have left. Save them until we can come for them.
What if they get me before I get out?
And throw them overboard. At least they won't have them.
Well, suppose I never see you again.
And let it be a part payment for all you've done for us. Miss Browning.
I keep barging in, don't I? Renard just came in, Steve. He's on his way up.
Did he see you?
I don't think so.
All right, get in the other room, both of you. Go on, hurry.
But suppose he...
And keep quiet. As soon as I get rid of Renard, take her back down to the cellar.
Okay, Steve.
Are you looking for me, Renard?
Do you mind if we come in?
No, not at all. And any friends of yours...
Shut up. Search him.
Keep your hands up, Morgan.
You relax. I don't carry guns. Now, what's on your mind, Renard?
The whereabouts of Monsieur and Madame de Bursac.
Well, how would I know?
Well, I thought perhaps you... Perfume. Very nice.
You like it, huh?
Yes.
So do I. All right, Slim, come on out.
Good evening.
Mademoiselle. Well, now we are all here, except your friend, Mr. Eddie.
You've got Eddie?
Yes, we've got Eddie.
What are you going to do with him?
Oh, if you will not give us the information we want, perhaps he will. We made a mistake this morning of giving him liquor. This time we will withhold it.
Oh, he couldn't stand that. He'd crack wide open.
All of which you could prevent.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. You got a cigarette, Slim?
Here.
Thanks. Can't you make Eddie talk, Renard?
When necessary.
Got a match, Slim?
Sorry,
There's some over in that drawer.
You could save your friend a great deal of, shall we say, discomfort?
I don't see any matches, Steve.
Well, there's a whole box of them. Never mind, I'll get them. How much money did you offer me, Renard? $835 and $500, wasn't it?
Except now I don't believe I will pay anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Eddie will talk. He'll have to talk. There's nothing else I can do but...
But what?
But this.
Look out, he's got the gun! Oh!
Sorry, Renard. Coyo shouldn't have shot first. When somebody shoots at you, you gotta shoot back. All right, Slim.
Yes, Steve.
You know, I'd forgotten all about the gun in the drawer. Thanks.
Listen to me, Morgan.
I've listened to you long enough. Now get him up.
You forget we still have that drunk.
So you were gonna drive Eddie nuts, picking on a poor old rummy that never... and slapping girls around. That's right. Go for your gun, Renard. Your boy on the floor needs company.
No, Harry, don't.
Get the gun, Frenchie.
Yes, Harry, yes.
Now get over that couch, Renard, both of you. Don't bother me, Frenchie. I'm getting mad. All right, Madame de Bersac, come on out. Let me introduce you, fellas. This is Madame de Bersac. The other one's down the cellar, her husband. Take her down, Frenchie. Get some help. Have them both ready to leave on the boat, then come back here. Slim, you pack. We're shoving off as soon as we get Eddie out.
And just how do you think you will get him out?
Shut up! At the telephone in the hall, Renard. You're going to tell someone to let Eddie out. Oh, yes, you are. One of you. Because you're both going to take a beating until someone gets on that phone. That means one of you is going to take a beating for nothing. I don't care which one it is. But I'd like to start with you, Renard.
Where is the phone?
I'll show it to you just as soon as you tie up your partner here.
Yes, you hear me? I said you'll release him immediately.
Tell him you'll explain later.
I will explain it later. Do nothing till you hear from me. Then I'll take the responsibility. Goodbye.
Thanks, Renard. Now back to my room. You've got some harbor passes to fill out.
Everything is ready, Harry. De Bersac and Madame, they're waiting.
Yeah, we'll take them down to the wharf. Here, these passes will get them through the guards.
Where will you take them, Harry?
Well, maybe Devil's Island.
Huh? What?
Well, it's just a short stop to pick up your friend Vilmers. He's still there, isn't he?
Oh, Harry, do not joke.
Well, that's what you wanted, wasn't it?
Oh, Harry, je suis tellement reconnaissant que tu fais ça pour moi.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Just don't kiss me.
Oh, now, Harry. Why are you doing this, Harry?
I don't know. Maybe because I like you, and maybe because I don't like them. Oh, you'll have to take care of those guys. Renard and his pal, they're in my room.
We will give you plenty of time.
If you let them go, they'll come back here and burn this place down.
It will be a very small fire. When Vilmar comes back, we will start a bigger fire.
Okay. I'll see you at the boat, Frenchie.
Say, how's everything been going, Harry?
Everything is all right now.
You look glad to see me. You know, a funny thing.
Yeah, I know.
At the police station. I've been at the police station.
We're shoving off, Eddie. Ready, Slim?
Already. They're down in your cabin.
Hey, what is this? She going with us?
Yeah, it looks like it. She and those people we picked up.
But, Harry, you mean... what's she got to... Who are you?
Was you ever bit by a dead bee?
Was you?
Yeah. You know, you gotta be careful of dead bees. They can sting you just as bad as live ones, especially if they was kind of mad when they got killed.
I feel like I was talking to myself.
I bet I've been bit 100 times that way.
Why don't you bite them back?
I would, only I haven't got a stinger.
Now I remember you. You're all right. She can come, Harry. It's okay with me.
Thanks.
Now, I'll have the two of you to take care of, won't I?
Yeah, that's right, Eddie. Throw off that line.
Sure, Harry. All clear.
Well, here we go, Slim.
Yes, here we go.
You don't have to act with me. That's what you said, remember? You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything.
Oh, maybe just whistle.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing.
Oh?
Listen. You feeling happy, Slim?
What do you think?
Our stars will return for their curtain calls in a moment. Grandmother is sitting quietly in the living room. That is, until young Jane bursts in.
Mother!
Your mother's out, Jane. What is it?
Oh, hello, Grandma. Look what I just bought. A ducky new slip.
Do you mean to say your mother allows you to wear things like that?
Well, why not? What's the matter with it?
Silk and lace. Why, in my day...
But it isn't silk, Grandma. It's rayon. And I've looked all over town for a blue like this.
We wore sensible clothes when I was young.
Oh, but Grandma, pretty undies make you feel so wonderful.
Sheer extravagance.
Not really, Grandma. I've got lots like this, and they wear and wear. You see, I use Lux.
You take care of your own things.
Well, I should say so. On my clothes allowance, I can't afford to have them wear out fast. With Lux Care, they look simply swell.
Sensible Jane. Lux Care really does keep pretty undies lovely longer. Up to 3 times as long, in fact. Color tests show. I've seen identical slips. One washed the wrong way with the wrong kind of soap, and one washed the right way, the Lux way. And you'd be amazed at the difference after 30 washings. One was faded and drab. The Luxed ones were still lovely looking. So, if you value your pretty things, Lux them after every wearing. If you don't find Lux Flakes at your dealer's, try again soon. More is on the way to him. Lux Flakes are worth waiting for. We return you now to William Keighley.
Back for a well-deserved curtain call come the stars of To Have and Have Not, Humphrey Bogart and Raymond Bacall. Lauren, all our heartiest congratulations on your first appearance on the air. I'm sure there'll be many more.
Thank you, Bill.
Hey, see, that wasn't so bad now, was it? What if you do make a slip on the air? There's only 30 million people out there ready to jump down your throat.
You know, Lauren...
No, just a minute, Bill. The name she answers to is Betty. You only call her Lauren when you're sore at her.
I see. Okay, Bogie. As I said earlier, Betty, we've had many premieres in this theater. But tonight, I'd like to bring our audience a world premiere, something never before heard on the air.
But I'm not sure Bogie would approve.
But think, Bogie, 30 million people waiting breathlessly to hear it.
Yeah, but think of me, my nerves. Every time I hear it, I jump.
Yeah, but in spite of personal sacrifice, the audience must come first. Now, how about it, Betty?
Oh, shall I, Bogie?
Okay, honey.
Thank you, Bogie. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the air, you're about to hear an instrument made famous by tonight's play, immortalized by the line, "Whenever you want me, whistle." It's Betty Bacall blowing the special whistle which she carries for that special purpose. Ready, Betty?
Ready, Bill.
Blow. Well, Bogie, I can see how you'd find that whistle irresistible. Incidentally, Betty, I notice you don't use it in your current Warner Brothers picture, The Big Sleep.
No, she doesn't need to. She has me hooked right from the beginning of that picture.
Well, both of you do a splendid job in bringing Raymond Chandler's mystery to the screen.
Thanks, Bill. What do you have coming up on Lux next week?
Next Monday night, we bring our audience a household full of humor, drama, and romance. It's Paramount's recent screen success, Miss Susie Slagles, starring Joan Caulfield, William Holden, and Billy DeWolf. One of the newest and brightest stars of Hollywood, Miss Caulfield plays her original screen role, as does Billy DeWolf, in this poignant story of a group of students in pursuit of fame and happiness and love.
Oh, that ought to make a great hit with your audience, Bill. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, and many thanks to both of you. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday evening when the Lux Radio Theater brings you William Holden, Joan Caulfield, and Billy DeWolf in Miss Susie Slagles. This is William Keighley saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Suppose you had to do without a month's supply of soap. That could happen if used fats aren't turned in by the housewives of America. Scores of major industries need oils and grease, yet there's a shortage of oils all over the world. So if they're going to keep going, they must boost their supplies with used fats or cut into the supply of fine soap-making oils. And that would mean less soap for you. So don't throw a single drop of used fat down the drain. Your dealer will give you 4 cents for every pound. Heard in our cast tonight were Tim Graham as Eddie, George Sorrell as Gerard, and Jack Crucian as Inspector Renard. Our music was directed by Louis Silvers. This is your announcer, John Milton Kennedy, reminding you to tune in again next Monday night to hear Miss Susie Slagles with Joan Caulfield, William Holden, and Billy DeWolf. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Lux Radio Theater, 78 years ago today, October 14th, 1946, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up on our program on Tuesday, We'll have The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Boston Blackie, starring Dick Calmer. The Casebook of Gregory Hood, and that stars a gentleman whom you've heard a lot, Jackson Beck. Also an episode of Suspense, The Seeds of Disaster, starring Bernard Grant, and another in the episodes of The Crooked Oil Association with Superman. And then coming up on Wednesday, Town Hall Tonight, starring Fred Allen. We'll also have Fibber, McGee, and Molly from 1945, an episode of The Great Gildersleeve from 1946, and Lum and Abner. Wednesday, it'll be Nick Carter, Master Detective, The Whistler, Screen Directors Playhouse production of Pitfall, and Suspense, The Man Who Thought He Was Edward G. Robinson. And then, let's see, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll wrap up the week with some comedy with Father Knows Best, starring Robert Young. Another episode from 1937 of Fibber, McGee, and Molly. I look at them as two different shows because the shows pre-1938 were kind of a different feel for the characters, if you know what I mean. An episode of Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy and Jack Benny from a wartime episode where he donates the Maxwell to a scrap drive. That's all coming up this week on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But just in a moment, Claudia.
Every day, as the war against Japan increases in intensity, the need for waste fats and greases grows more critical. Here's one department where the enemy may be superior unless you help make up the difference from your kitchens. Save all waste fats and greases, no matter how discolored. Keep a clean can in which to strain them and take them regularly to your butcher. Remember, for every pound, he'll give you 4 cents plus 2 extra meat points.
Let's head out to the farm and see what's going on with Claudia from 76 years ago, October 14th, 1948. Are they hanging out behind the barn? Ooh, I wonder what they're doing.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the famous play and novels by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
David, where are you?
Here.
Where is here?
Out here behind the barn. What do you want, Claudia?
Oh, there you are.
What do you want?
Nothing.
You mean you go bellowing around the countryside as if I were a lost cow? Here, bossy, here, bossy, here, bossy. And when you find me, you don't want anything.
You're very bossy, and you're a very nice bossy.
Thank you.
Anyway, you've got your metaphors mixed, you know.
Oh, I have, huh?
By the way, what do they call a bull for short? Bully? No, darling, I really didn't want anything. I just wanted to know where you were and what you were doing.
Well, you've been asking a lot of questions, but to answer the last one, I'm not doing anything.
Well, don't overdo it.
Now, look, you and Mama have to start treating me like a couple of nursemaids with an errant child. Just pretend that I've grown up and know how to take care of myself.
I'll pretend, but you don't.
Don't what?
Don't know how to take care of yourself.
I haven't been doing anything else for a couple of weeks.
Any day now you're going to get fed up and start doing something foolish, and I intend to be on hand to stop you.
What do you do? Something foolish like what, for instance?
Oh, something foolish like mending the pasture fence, for instance.
That gives me an idea.
It's no good of an idea.
Now, look, Claudia, I was in an automobile accident,
Yes, I
but
heard.
I'm all well. I'm all patched up now. I refuse to be made an invalid. A hammer and a pocket full of staples and renailing the down wire on the fence is not hard work. And I am going to do it, no matter what you say.
I won't say anything,
I'll bet.
but I think it's foolish.
Oh, you think it's foolish? Tell me one reason why you think it's foolish.
Let me see. Because the wire doesn't need nailing up.
And have our cows...
Cows, singular, and yet to be.
I stand corrected. And have our singular cow wandering all over the countryside? No, sirree. You were with me yesterday when we walked out here and looked at the places the wire is down.
You looked at the wire, darling, but I looked at the look in your eye. And...
And what?
And I told Fritz to mend the fence. He fixed it yesterday afternoon.
Oh. I wish that Bobby could walk.
You've done it.
Done what?
Out non sequitured me. That's the word, isn't it? You're always saying that I say things that don't hang together and follow and make sense. There is absolutely no connection between fixing a fence and Bobby walking.
That's what you think. If Bobby could walk, he could get himself into all kinds of wonderful trouble, and you'd have your hands so full worrying about him, you wouldn't have any time for me.
That's what you think. I always have to. David, do we have any bears or wild animals?
Come again? I'm not following you.
I said, do we have any bears or wild animals around here? I'm just asking a simple question.
A simple question out of the blue.
A simple question out of those elder thickets on the hillside over there. Something moved.
Where? I don't see anything.
It's bigger than a rabbit or a woodchuck, and it's not as big as a cow.
So it must be a bear. No, I don't see anything.
I suppose you didn't hear anything?
Yes, I heard something, and that hunter is going to hear something from me.
David, your nostrils are white. I don't think it's wise.
You don't think what's wise?
Dr. Barry doesn't want you to overexert, and whoever fired that shot has a gun.
And he's done his last shooting on this place. Hey, you up there on the hill, come over here. I want to talk to you. These city pot hunters, shooting everything that moves, breaking down fences, starting fires. When will I get him? I'll give him a piece of my mind.
There he is, darling.
Where? I don't see him.
See, just to the right of that thicket? Oh, I guess you won't have to give him a very big piece of your mind.
I'll blister him. Why won't I?
Well, because he isn't a very big hunter.
Uh-oh. He is a sort of a half-pint Nimrod. Oh, and I know him. My old fishing companion, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy! Jimmy! Hey, come over here a minute.
Don't blister him too hard, David. Just shoo him off the place and tell him he has to hunt someplace else. This land is posted.
That's not so easy. You see, Jimmy is a neighbor.
Well, neighbor or not, you wanted this to be a place where animals weren't hunted. You don't hunt yourself. You posted the land. Jimmy can read.
I guess he didn't think these signs applied to him.
Well, he is just a child. When he comes over, you can sort of explain it to him.
That he's a child?
No, you goop, that he isn't to go hunting.
I'm afraid he wouldn't understand.
There is very little that little boy doesn't understand. Jimmy is a smart tyke.
Well,
Look, if you're afraid to tell a little boy to scat and skedoodle off the place, I'm not. I don't like the idea of things being killed on our place, and neither do you.
What would you say to him?
Well, I'd say, Jimmy, Mr. Norton and I don't want any shooting on this place.
Oh.
We don't do any shooting, and we don't want anyone else to do any shooting. That is why we put up the no trespassing signs.
Trespassing? Now, that's a pretty hard word for a boy to understand.
And I'll spell it out for him. It means private property. It means stay out.
That's a pretty hard idea for a neighbor to understand.
But we own the land. It's ours. We pay taxes so we can...
That's what the deed says. To Claudia Norton and David Norton. All that certain piece, parcel, or tract of land to have and to hold in fee simple.
In language simple. That's a lot of legal balderdash.
That it is. It means we have certain rights, but...
Honestly, men make simple things so complicated. It means we either own the land or we don't.
Oh, it means that all right. But I'm afraid that there are certain rights of others that the deed doesn't mention. You see, all the people who live about us, they and their families have lived here for generations.
Hello, Mr. Norton. Hello, Mrs. Norton.
Hello.
Hunting, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you get anything?
Well, almost.
That's good.
No, it would have been better if I'd hit him. I closed my eyes. I guess I got a bad habit of closing my eyes.
I didn't exactly mean that when I said that's good. I meant
what Mrs. Norton meant, Jimmy, was that it must have been a pretty good shot to almost get him, but you didn't get him. By the way, what was it that you almost got?
Woodchuck.
Woodchuck?
You mean one of those funny little brown things that look like bears and sit up and hold its paws together and wiggles its nose and falls backwards down its hole when you make a noise?
That's a fairly accurate description of a woodchuck.
And you really wanted to kill it, Jimmy?
Woodchucks is bad, Mrs. Norton.
Little brown things like that?
Sure are. They raise all heck with new-seeded fields. And Mr. Warren had a cow last year what stepped in one and broke his leg. I mean her leg.
But, Jimmy, Mr. Norton and I haven't any cows.
Yet.
David, are you with me or against me?
Oh, I'm standing on the sidelines.
Well, anyway, a cow has to take his chances.
Her chances.
And we haven't got any new planted fields.
Yet. Now, what Mrs. Norton is trying to say, Jimmy, is that she didn't know woodchucks were so dangerous.
What I meant to say,
that's
Jimmy...
That's a wonderful rifle. What is it?
It's a Stevens. A single-shot Stevens.
It's all right. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
If it was a repeater, I would have got that woodchuck.
Well, a lot of big game has been shot with a single-shot rifle. That's all the pioneers in this country had, you know. Only with a single shot, you have to be good, you know. There's one chance. It's more sporting.
David, don't you think that just coming to the point...
Claudia, guns are man's business. I'll explain all this to you later.
Well, this is a pretty old gun, Mr. Norton.
Well, they're the best kind. Who'd want a brand new gun? A gun's like a pipe. It isn't much good until it's been broken in.
Gee, you really know about guns, don't you? You're a hunter, too.
Well, I've been shooting.
What for? What did you shoot, Mr. Norton?
A deer.
David, how could you have?
Mrs. Norton, you're just like my ma. I guess women just really don't understand about hunting, do they, Mr. Norton? How many did you shoot?
Just one. I didn't have to shoot any more.
Did you have to shoot that one?
I thought I did. I guess that's part of the growing up a man has to do.
Gee, did you ever shoot any really big game, Mr. Norton?
No. Well, come to think of it, I guess I have.
What kind?
Biggest kind there is, I guess.
Gee, that must have been sport.
No, it wasn't sport. But it had to be done. They were sort of dangerous.
There ain't that kind of hunting around here.
No. I had to take a pretty long trip, and it took us quite a while. We were a long time coming back. Those of us who did come back.
Gosh, I'd like to go on a real hunting trip like that.
I hope you never have to, Jimmy. I hope you do all the hunting of your life on the fields and hills of Eastbrook.
David, it isn't necessary.
Sometimes it's very necessary, too. There was a group of farmers who left their fields one summer afternoon and marched toward Concord. They took their hunting rifles with them.
But men don't have to kill. There must be better ways.
There are. And someday all men may use them, but until they do... Look, this country has never fought an unjust war. And has never lost one. And they were fought not by professional soldiers, but by men who were willing to die that others might be free. Men who had learned as kids, even across these acres of ours, how to handle the only weapons that can oppose the power of evil and oppression in the world.
This here gun was my dad's gun when he was growing up. Ma finally said I could use it. She won't let me use his other guns, though. My dad was a fine shot. He was in the army, you know.
Yes, I know. He must have been a fine soldier.
Your dad must have been a fine man, too, Jimmy, to have left you such a rich memory of love.
My dad was the best man there is. He would have taken me hunting with him. He always said when I grew up he would. He would have learned me all about shooting.
Closing your eyes when you pull the trigger. That isn't good, is it?
It's the worst thing there is.
Jimmy, you know, I have an idea that your father would sort of like to think that when you went out hunting, you knew how. Really knew how.
How am I going to learn?
Jimmy, I have an idea that if you ask David, he might take you out hunting tomorrow morning.
Gee, Mrs. Norton, I think you're swell.
Gee, Mrs. Norton, I think you're swell, too.
When you snatch a few minutes during housework to listen to the radio, you can make those minutes even more enjoyable. Go to the refrigerator, get an ice-cold bottle of Coca-Cola, and refresh while you listen. Keep Coke on hand, and you can always listen refreshed.
Hi, Mr. King.
Hiya, Jimmy. Hey, it wouldn't be that I saw you carrying that rifle across the Norton's fields. They just posted their land, you know.
Oh, that doesn't apply to neighbors. The Nortons ain't like city folks or summer people.
There's a difference?
Sure is. The Nortons belong. They're,
Neighbors? That's a nice distinction. and I think I get it. By the way, did you get anything?
Almost, but I closed my eyes. But Mr. Norton's going to show me how about shooting. Him and I were going hunting tomorrow.
You are? Gee, wish I could go along. Maybe I might. But say, what does Claudia think of your hunting?
Ah, you know women. At first she didn't seem to like it so much, and then she came around and said all right. Women aren't so bad underneath, and next to my ma, I guess Mrs. Norton's better than most.
A very profound observation, Jimmy. Well, I'll be seeing you, maybe tomorrow. Now, as I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. This broadcast of Claudia was supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
76 years ago, October 14th, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, Sherlock Holmes, Boston Blackie, The Casebook of Gregory Hood, Suspense, and Superman. Thanks for being with us on this Monday, and we will see you tomorrow for more Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.